If you think the truth always comes to light, think again. Hit that subscribe button, because the next minute might just change everything you believe about justice. Detroit, Michigan, March 12, 2014. The night was a blur of blue sirens and shattered glass when Officer Mark Duvall's radio cracked alive. A frantic dispatcher's voice pierced the static. Unit 47, we got a body at 113 Hawthorne Street. Neighbors heard screaming. Caller reports it's bad. By the time Duvall arrived, a thin fog rolled across the cracked pavement, swallowing the headlights. The house stood crooked at the end of the block, an old two-story home that hadn't seen life in years. Yet, tonight, every light was on. Inside, the scene looked like something from a nightmare. A young woman lay motionless on the kitchen floor, her hair soaked in blood. No forced entry. No weapon in sight. Just a single chair pulled out from the table, and a phone lying face down beside her. The caller, her roommate, Emily Rhodes, was still trembling in the corner. She said someone was following her. Emily whispered, voice shaking. Every night this week, she'd wake up saying she saw someone outside. I told her it was just her imagination. The victim's name was Sarah Kent, 24, a nursing student at Wayne State University. Clean record, quiet life, no enemies. But her phone told a darker story. Endless messages from an unknown number, each one chillingly brief. I see you. I'm closer than you think. Detective Lena Cruz was assigned to the case that morning. Tough, meticulous, and known for her instincts, Cruz immediately sensed something wasn't right. Sarah's front door was locked from the inside. All windows latched. Whoever killed her either had a key or never left. The coroner's report deepened the mystery. Time of death, 2:17 a.m. Cause blunt force trauma. But there were no defensive wounds. It was as if she trusted whoever came through that door. Cruz spent the next 48 hours combing through Sarah's life. No stalkers, no abusive partners. The only anomaly was a recent dating profile, one created just 2 weeks before her death. The username, FollowMe14. The app, MatchPath, was popular across Michigan. But when police subpoenaed the account, they found something strange. Every trace of the profile had been erased before Sarah's body was discovered, except one message from a user named It Follows 2014. It read, "You're not like the others. Don't run." The tech team traced the IP to a public Wi-Fi hub near Gresham Avenue, a block notorious for abandoned buildings. Cruz and Duvall drove down there the next morning. The air was heavy with rain and decay. Inside one of the derelict houses, they found what looked like a temporary setup, a chair, some food wrappers, a blanket, and taped to the wall, dozens of printed photos of women. Every photo had been taken from a distance. Women walking home, waiting at bus stops, sitting in cars. And in the center of them all was Sarah Kent. But that wasn't the worst part. Pinned beneath Sarah's picture was another. Detective Lena Cruz herself, taken just 3 nights earlier. They called it in immediately. The print on the wall matched no one in the system. The landlord hadn't rented the property in over a year. No cameras nearby. The stalker had been watching for months, maybe longer. As news of Sarah's death hit the media, more calls flooded the police line. 3 other women reported the same texts, same wording, same anonymous number. 2 of them lived within a mile of Sarah's apartment. Each believed someone had been following them. None could prove it. That night, Cruz couldn't sleep. She replayed the scene in her head. The locked door, the untouched food, the timestamp on Sarah's phone. 2:17 a.m. She checked the house's power records. Electricity had been cut briefly from 2:15 to 2:18, exactly the window of death. Someone had planned this. Someone who knew how to move unseen. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She opened it. "Stop digging, detective. It follows everyone." By dawn, Cruz had ordered surveillance on herself. 2 units watched her home. Another followed her to the precinct. But paranoia grew faster than evidence. The chief wanted results, and the press wanted answers. Sarah Kent's murder was now front-page news across the state. The follower killer strikes Detroit. Then, on the 5th day of the investigation, the team uncovered something buried deep in Sarah's old laptop. Hidden in a folder labeled Nursing Notes, there was a series of encrypted files. The IT tech cracked the first one. It contained dozens of candid photos, not of Sarah, but of men in police uniforms. Different faces, different precincts, all in Michigan. Each photo taken in secret. The last image stopped everyone cold. Officer Mark Duvall, the very cop who had found Sarah's body. Cruz confronted Duvall that evening in the interrogation room. He looked genuinely shocked as she slid the photos across the table. "This is insane," he said. "I've never met her before the night she died." But when she showed him Sarah's call log, his face went pale. His number appeared 3 times a week before the murder. "I swear, I don't remember calling her," he stammered. I had someone mess with my phone a few weeks ago. I thought it was spam." Before Cruz could press further, the power flickered again in the precinct. All the monitors went black for exactly 3 minutes. When they rebooted, the main screen in the evidence room displayed a message no one could explain. "It follows her now." And underneath it, a live camera feed of Detective Lena Cruz's own apartment, shot from somewhere inside her bedroom. That was the night everything changed. The case that started with one dead girl became something much darker. Someone was watching. Someone who always stayed one step ahead. And when the detectives rushed to Cruz's apartment to trace the feed, they found the camera. They found the wires. But they didn't find the man holding them. What they found instead, hidden inside her closet, was a single photograph, folded and blood-stained. It was a picture of Sarah Kent, standing beside someone who shouldn't exist anymore. A man who'd been declared dead in 2011. You think you've seen fear? Wait till you realize it's been watching you all along. Hit subscribe, because the next name on this case could have been yours. The photograph changed everything. The man beside Sarah Kent wasn't supposed to exist. His name was Daniel Morrow, a former Detroit police officer who'd been presumed dead after a car explosion in 2011, an explosion that left no body, only ashes and a burned ID badge. Detective Lena Cruz stared at the evidence photo under the dim lights of the precinct's conference room. The resemblance was undeniable. Same jawline, same scar above the right brow, same half-smirk captured in old apartment records. "Are we saying he faked his death?" asked Officer Duvall, still visibly shaken from the accusations. Cruz didn't answer right away. "Or someone wanted us to think he was dead." The next 48 hours became a blur of reopened files and unanswered calls. Morrow's old record showed a pattern. Disciplinary warnings, complaint of harassment, even a restraining order from a former girlfriend, filed just months before the explosion. But the case had been buried, sealed by internal affairs after his death. Cruz's instinct screamed that Morrow never died. He'd simply disappeared, and maybe he'd found a way to keep following his victims without being seen. 2 nights later, Cruz and her partner drove down to Lake Orion, the site of Morrow's supposed accident. The wreckage site was long cleared, but Cruz noticed something strange near the lake's edge. Faint tire tracks, fresh, leading to an abandoned boathouse. Inside, the air smelled of oil and mildew. The floorboards creaked under their boots as flashlights cut through the dark. Then something caught Duvall's beam, a wall of photos again. But this time, it wasn't women. It was them, the detectives, the entire task force, every person who had touched the Sarah Kent case. Each photo had a red circle around their faces. And in the middle of the wall hung a single note. "You shouldn't have looked back." Before they could process it, a sound echoed outside, the rumble of an engine. By the time they rushed out, a black SUV peeled off into the night. Cruz fired 2 shots at the tires, but the vehicle vanished into the fog. Inside the SUV's tracks, she found something chilling. A burner phone, smashed but still blinking with one unread message. She picked it up. The text read, "Next one's already chosen." By morning, news broke that one of the women who had received the same stalking messages as Sarah, Tanya Rivers, a 29-year-old nurse, had been found dead in her apartment. No forced entry. Same MO. And again, her door had been locked from the inside. Forensics pulled one partial print from the light switch. It matched Daniel Morrow. Cruz's heart pounded. It was impossible. Morrow was officially dead. His case file marked closed 2011. Yet here was proof he was alive and killing again. The chief ordered the case to go federal, but Cruz refused to hand it over. She'd already seen what federal handling meant: buried evidence, unanswered questions, and another name in the morgue. At home, Cruz couldn't shake the feeling she was being watched. She changed her locks twice, installed new cameras, and still woke up at 3 a.m. to faint static sounds on her television. The IT team later found out her home security system had been remotely accessed through a precinct network, meaning whoever It Follows 2014 they had access to police databases, CCTV feeds, and internal communications. Someone on the inside was helping him. The next evening, she met Duval in a parking garage downtown. Rain poured like glass as they leaned against her car, voices low. "Tell me the truth," she said. "Did you ever work with Morrow?" Duval exhaled smoke. "I was a rookie. He trained me for a few months before the accident. He was smart, too smart. He said once that real control isn't about catching people. It's about making them feel watched." "Did he ever mention Sarah?" He hesitated. "Not her name, but he talked about a girl who ruined him. Said she went to internal affairs." That was it. The missing link. Sarah Kent hadn't just been a random victim. She had been the informant who'd helped file the harassment complaint that ended Morrow's career. Cruz now understood the pattern. Every woman Morrow followed was tied to that one report. And now, he was coming for everyone involved: witnesses, cops, even her. They pulled the original internal affairs report from storage. Half the pages were missing. But one signature stood out at the bottom: an officer named Elliot Crane, the same tech expert now handling their digital forensics. When confronted, Crane looked nervous. "I thought he was dead," he said. "He contacted me last year, said he wanted to make things right. He sent me money to keep him off the radar, just until he disappeared for good." "Where is he now?" Cruz demanded. Crane swallowed hard. He said he'd be back when the circle closed. That night, Crane went missing. His car was found idling on the highway's shoulder, driver's door open, phone still in the cup holder, playing a voice message on repeat. "I told you it follows everyone." By now, panic was spreading through the department. Every detective on the task force started receiving texts from an untraceable number. Each one had the same timestamp, 2:17 a.m., and each message was just one word: followed. Cruz, now exhausted and paranoid, began keeping a loaded service weapon within reach at all times. She started recording herself at night, hoping to catch something: a shadow, a sound, anything. On the third night, she reviewed the footage. At exactly 2:17 a.m., her camera flickered. For less than a second, a figure appeared in the doorway, blurred, face hidden behind a hood. And on the wall behind him, a shadow moved that didn't match his body. The next morning, Duval burst into her office. "They found something in Crane's storage unit," he said. Inside, they discovered old police surveillance tapes from 2011, the year Morrow supposedly died. The footage showed Morrow in a warehouse, talking to someone off camera. "Once it starts," he said, "it never stops. You follow one, you follow them all. That's the rule." Then the camera shifted slightly, revealing the other man. It wasn't a stranger. It was Chief Raymond Holt, the current head of Detroit PD. Everything snapped into focus. The It Follows 2014 operation wasn't the work of a lone stalker. It was a network, a ring of ex-cops using surveillance systems to track victims tied to an old internal affairs cover-up. Sarah Kent had uncovered it by accident. And Morrow? He had been the scapegoat. His death was staged to bury the operation. Now, someone, maybe Morrow himself, maybe someone using his name, was exposing them one by one. That night, Cruz sat in her car outside headquarters, rain pattering on the windshield, phone buzzing in her lap. The message appeared at 2:17 a.m. sharp. "It's not following you, detective. You're part of it." She looked up and froze. Across the street, in the reflection of her car mirror, a man in a black had stood perfectly still. When she turned around, he was gone. By morning, the department's network crashed. All case files on It Follows 2014 were wiped. The only trace left was a new digital folder that appeared on Cruz's desktop, labeled Chapter 3. You think you've seen justice? Wait till you see what hides behind it. Subscribe now, because the truth doesn't end here. It just changes faces. It was 3:07 a.m. when Detective Lena Cruz woke to the faint hum of her laptop. The screen glowed in the darkness, showing a single open file, the one labeled Chapter 3. She hesitated, then clicked. The video started with static. Then, slowly, a face emerged. It was Daniel Morrow, older now, his features sharper, eyes hollow but alive. "Hello, Detective," he said. "If you're watching this, it means they've already erased everything. You're not chasing me. You're chasing what made me." Cruz froze. The background behind him wasn't random. It was inside the Detroit Police Archives, Room 12B, a restricted evidence vault only high-ranking officials could access. Morrow continued. In 2010, Internal Affairs built something they couldn't control, a tracking protocol designed to monitor witnesses, suspects, anyone who might turn. They called it Project Follower. It was supposed to be temporary, until they realized how much power came with watching people who never knew they were being watched. He leaned closer to the camera, voice dropping. "I tried to expose it. They call me unstable. Then they burned me." The screen cut to black. Then another clip played, grainy security footage from 2011. It showed Morrow's supposed car explosion. But in slow motion, Cruz noticed something. The driver's seat was empty. Someone else had triggered it remotely. A shadow moved in the corner of the frame. Chief Raymond Holt. Cruz's blood ran cold. She knew what this meant. The man leading the current investigation was the same one who'd staged Morrow's death. And now, he was erasing anyone who could reveal the truth. She grabbed her gun and badge, heart hammering as she sped through empty streets toward headquarters. The building was dark, except for one light, the chief's office on the 3rd floor. Inside, Holt sat behind his desk, calm, a glass of whiskey in hand. "You shouldn't be here, Lena," he said, almost softly. "You've gone too far." "I know what you did," she shot back. "Project Follower. Morrow's death. Sarah Kent. She found your files." Holt smiled faintly, the kind of smile that came from someone who'd already planned your next move. "You think this is about one man's obsession? You think this ends with me?" He leaned forward. Project Follower never stopped. It just changed uniforms. Before she could respond, he pressed a key on his desk keyboard. Every monitor in the office flickered to life. Hundreds of camera feeds from homes, streets, even police officers' body cams. Every screen bore the same timestamp, 2:17 a.m. And then, one by one, the faces appeared. Every detective who had touched the case, every victim, every name on Sarah Kent's list. Each feed blinked out in sequence, like lights dying in the dark. "You see," Holt whispered, "we don't follow people anymore. The system does." Gunfire shattered the silence. Cruz dug behind a file cabinet as Holt drew his weapon. The office filled with smoke and broken glass. She fired once, then twice. The second shot hit him square in the shoulder. He dropped, groaning, blood pooling under his hand. "You can't stop it," he rasped. "It's bigger than both of us." She stepped closer, gun trembling in her hand. "Where's Morrow?" Holt looked up, smirking through the pain. "Look around, Detective. He never left." He nodded toward the monitors, and Cruz froze. Every feed now showed her, sitting, standing, moving, in real time, from angles that shouldn't exist. Cameras inside her own home, her car, even this office. And in one of the feeds, standing right behind her, was Daniel Morrow. She spun around, but the room was empty. Only the faint smell of smoke and the hum of electricity. When backup arrived, Holt was gone. The building security system had wiped every recording. The only thing left behind was a USB drive lying on the floor, labeled Follow. Cruz took it straight to the tech lab. The file opened to reveal a map, hundreds of red dots scattered across Michigan, each labeled with a date and name. Every victim, every officer, every follower. At the center of the map was one blinking blue dot. Her address. The system voice whispered through the speakers. Target active. Cycle complete. For the next week, Cruz went dark. No phone, no home, no trace. Until one morning, she called Duval from a payphone 2 states away. "I found something," she said. "A warehouse near the border. It's still running. Servers, cameras, everything. They're tracking people live." He urged her to wait for backup. She refused. "This doesn't end in court," she said quietly. "It ends tonight." The warehouse was silent, except for the soft mechanical hum of machines. Rows of monitors filled the room, each showing a live feed from hidden cameras across the country. And in the center stood Daniel Morrow, alive, gaunt, expressionless, eyes glowing from the blue screens around him. "You shouldn't have come," he said. "I came to finish this," she replied. Morrow stepped closer. "You still don't get it, do you? I didn't build Project Follower. I inherited it. When they burned me, I became what they feared most, someone they couldn't erase." He turned one of the monitors toward her. The feed showed her childhood home, her parents' faces blurred in sleep. "You've been part of this since day one, Lena. They watch everyone who gets close enough to see behind the badge." Her gun trembled in her hand. "Then why kill them? Why Sarah?" "Because she tried to turn it off," he whispered. "And once it starts following, it never stops." He stepped back into the glow of the screens. "Pull that trigger and you'll see. The moment you kill me, you become me." Cruz's heartbeat thundered in her ears. She aimed, then fired. The screen behind Morrow exploded into sparks. But when the smoke cleared, he was gone. Federal agents raided the warehouse 2 hours later. They found no bodies, only empty chairs, and a running system that couldn't be shut down. Every screen displayed one final message. "It follows you now." 3 months later, the case was officially closed. Cruz resigned from the force, moved to a quiet town in Oregon. No interviews, no appearances, no trace of her online. But at exactly 2:17 a.m. every night, her phone vibrated once. No number, no sound. Just a blank notification that disappeared before she could touch it. One night, she decided to trace it. She opened her laptop, and there it was, a folder newly created on her desktop. It was titled "It Follows 2024. Inside, a single video file. Her own reflection, typing on her computer right now. And behind her, a faint shadow moving in the blue light. They thought the circle had closed. But in truth, it had only shifted. If you think this story was intense, you're not ready for the next one. Subscribe and stay watched.